And now, to present the Golden Eddie to Paul Greengrass, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's most favoritist person in the world, Tom Hanks.
Thank you very much. You know, you editors are so welcoming and inclusive when we visit your offices on a film. Once we can find your offices on a film, some AD is always saying, you know, I think they are. Well, there's trailers over there. Why don't you go check out one of them? That might be it. But it's wonderful to get there. The lights are always dimmed, and you light those scented candles, and the incense is going. And one of the interns is also always a trained reflexologist who gives foot rubs. I can't tell you what that means on those moments where we come to find out what we've done wrong and what you have to fix. So thank you for that. And also congratulations to ACE for its 64th anniversary. That's quite an achievement. Yes, indeed. And also for giving out what truly is the largest trophy in show business. This thing is, pardon my language, it is fucking huge, this thing. I mean, honestly, it's going to be there, and it's going to be like yay big. It's like, you know, whatever you do, do not flash those around town, you winners, because, you know, if actors see trophies that big, they're going to want to try to add another hyphen to their hyphenate status and take your place on the show business food chain. And, you know, we can do so little, but honestly, our abilities to be editors would be even less than, say, the caterers on a show. So keep those locked away, maybe in those little offices that we have so much trouble finding when the time comes, but bravo. We're here to talk about Paul Greengrass for many reasons. For many reasons, but none more salient to a room full of editors than this one. At an early point in his career as a filmmaker, Paul Greengrass could not afford a tripod. So it was that lack of funds that caused his going handheld with his camera. So all that gripping and shaky, nauseating footage, all for lack of a tripod. Directors, of course, come to the job from every and any discipline, and Paul started as a journalist. He was a professional troublemaker who co-authored with Peter Wright the book Spycatcher, which was subject to an attempted ban by the British government because there were too many uncomfortable truths there. And in his documentary films, he found other uncomfortable truths in such topics as betting scandals, institutional racism, military actions in the Gulf War, terrorist bombings, and even in the volatile world of wood frame home construction and mortgages. This is true. Now, as we all know, the story in a film is in the footage. If you don't have the shots, you do not have the story. Now, you can ask anyone who has worked with him. Paul Greengrass gets the footage. Oh, he gets a lot of footage. He gets reels of, he gets hours of footage. He gets miles and miles and miles of footage, you know. Documentary filmmakers live or die by grabbing the shot at the moment it happens, often for the one and only time. Now, Paul's inevitable move into feature films has that same DNA, and it is no better witness than in his early film, Bloody Sunday, for which he was rightly celebrated, and he made some righteous trouble in that film, resulting in the longest inquiry ever in the legal system of, you guessed it, the British government. For those with only a passing knowledge of the subject matter, Bloody Sunday is a primer on that long conflict in Northern Ireland. And for those versed in the struggle, it is a brutally honest depiction of what happened that weekend. Bloody Sunday is also a watermark in the art of cinema in which actors and designers and craftsmen and screenwriters, editors, who are all making a movie, recreate facts and true emotion of history by capturing the behavior as it was. The shots then transcend the suspension of disbelief and turn the audience into eyewitnesses. Now, the simplicity of Paul Greengrass's camera is void of effects and soaring artificial movement, and it makes long lens beauty into long lens reality. And this is the signature of Paul Greengrass, the tripod-less storyteller. When unpredictable behavior and arcane procedure is shown, not explained, and it reverberates in the subsequent Greengrass films. Yes, Jason Bourne is some kind of expertly trained super agent, but he needs to glance at a map before escaping bad guys by driving pell-mell through the narrow streets of European capitals. He has to look at a map. He doesn't just know every street and corner in Paris. He has to look at a map, just for a second, then boom, there it is. In what may be the greatest motion picture ever made that is also the most painful to view, Paul made what is inarguably a masterpiece in United 93. With our collective consciousness already having too well defined the story of that flight on that day in September 11th of 2001, Paul Greengrass used the tools and process we are also familiar with, a soundstage and a mock-up cast of actors and a set, you know, with coffee cups and radar screens and what have you. And he recreated terror and its common possibilities. If you saw United 93, you were walked through too savage an arc of behavior. You didn't just ask yourself, what would you have done in the same circumstance? You saw what you would have done. And the film astonishes in that capturing of the truth. Actors in the ensemble said they shot the entire flight in real time every morning, from the boarding of United 93 to the final tragic fade to white. And then after hours needed to recover from that 90-minute experience, they regrouped in the afternoon and shot the entire flight again. And this went on for weeks. Paul and his longtime collaborator Barry Ackroyd used multiple cameras, switched out on the fly, reloaded as needed, and shot small moments inside the much larger story, getting the footage. And he made not only a movie, but he made a document, a public service that regrettably is all too full of uncomfortable truths. And so it is with the films of Paul Greengrass, who came to making movies through a biological need to put onto the screen the stories that get his attention and the narratives that burn in his head. The truth found in history and shaped by the inexplicable behavior of human beings. On Captain Phillips, he was the same filmmaker, journalist, troublemaker, as always. He vetted the screenplay with the official records. He cast first-time actors out of Somalia by way of Minneapolis. He rehearsed for hours on the shooting day until the scene was no longer choreography and dialogue, but had become behavior. Now, other directors might view that as costing half a shooting day. But the fact is, we shot 8 pages in a morning's work. And in the afternoon, we shot another 6. Each full-on performance of the scene built on the previous. And then we moved on, we did it again on the next scene. Now, that is how Paul gets the footage. What makes his film such tactile experiences and such emotional journeys and such timeless documents for the ages. And that is why we celebrate him here tonight. His films are not style, but they are a faith, a cinematic theology that in the footage must be not only the story, but also the paradox of human nature, the honest common struggles we all face, no matter our place in the world, no matter our place in the story. It's all in the footage. And in the footage, there must be the truth. Let's take a look at some footage shot by Paul Greengrass.